Welcome back to Hello Mansfield. I'm Dr. Amanda Stanley, here with Talk It Out with Stanley Psychology. This is a new weekly segment where myself and my staff will be coming in to give you mental health tips, tricks, and just some general mental health education. Today, our topic is going to be one of my favorite topics to talk about, and that is anxiety. It is one of my favorite topics to talk about because it applies to everybody. Anxiety is a normal, healthy emotion to have at times, right? Anxiety-provoking situations create anxiety. It's a normal, healthy response. Sure, at times it can rise to levels of clinical anxiety that are really debilitating to functioning, but what I'm going to talk about today can apply to everybody, okay? So one of my favorite anxiety management tips when you're worried about something that's upcoming and your mind just starts spiraling is to play a game that I call the best case, worst case, most likely scenario game, okay? And I'm going to give you an example of how that works. So let's say I am really nervous about an upcoming presentation at work, right? And I'm thinking all these things that could happen and all these ways it could go. If I ask myself, okay, Amanda, what is my best case scenario? Well, my best case scenario is probably that I knock it out of the park, my coworkers are really engaged and listening, my boss gives me glowing feedback, right? Like that's my best case. My worst case scenario is probably something like maybe my coworkers just seem not really engaged, they're not listening, maybe I get some constructive feedback from my boss afterwards that didn't feel too good, right? That's probably my worst case scenario. My most likely scenario is probably somewhere in between, right? Maybe some people are engaged, others aren't. Maybe I get some feedback. But if I really kind of walk it out and think, okay, what's my best case, worst case, most likely scenario, and I keep it rational, and that's important. I'm going to come back to rational in a minute. I can really tell myself, okay, most of the time, I can handle that worst case scenario if it happens. And if I can handle that, that means I can handle any of these options. And it helps me kind of walk back that anxiety. Circling back to rational, though, that's really important. We have to make sure we are looking at a rational worst case scenario. In this case, anxiety can be very irrational. So it could start to spiral with all sorts of thoughts like, I could stand up to start giving my speech and then my coworkers, they stand up and point at me and start laughing and call me stupid, or my boss then fires me on the spot, right? Like all of these things that are just not going to happen, right? Like that is not rational to think about. I have to make sure it is my rational worst case scenario. I'm going to switch gears and give you an example that I use with a lot of patients, and it is this. If my husband is home from work every day at 6 o'clock on the dot, and today it is 6:05 and he is not home, is it rational for me to think my worst case scenario is, oh my goodness, he's dead in a ditch, right? It's not rational. It's not rational to think like that if he's 5 minutes late getting home, right? It is far more likely that maybe he got stuck in unexpected traffic, maybe he's got stuck in a late meeting, maybe he's on the phone outside finishing up a meeting before he comes in. Maybe the best case scenario is that he's running late because he stopped to give me some flowers on the way home or something like that, right? All of those things are far more likely, far more feasible to account for a 5 minutes difference of time coming home than, oh my goodness, he's dead in a ditch. Here's the trick with this though. Is it possible that he got in some sort of significant car accident? Yeah, that's possible, right? I mean, there are car accidents every day. There are fatalities on these Houston or Texas area roads, Dallas area roads every day. So it is possible. And we have to make sure when we're looking at our rational worst case scenario that we do not equate rational to possible, right? Because in that instance, 5 minutes late, it is just not rational to be thinking that. 5 hours, maybe. 5 minutes, it's just not, right? So next time you find yourself kind of spiraling with that anxiety or having those significant thoughts come up, I want you to try out the best case, worst case, most likely scenario game. Make sure you keep it rational and see if that helps reel in some of that anxiety. We are looking forward to seeing y'all next week again with Talk It Out with Stanley Psychology.